And we're now going back to the item, which is the election of officers. Commissioner Yee is now with us on the phone. I did read your statement, and I don't think we're just going to proceed with the election. So we'll conduct the election. We need to elect a president and vice president of the Board of Education. I should inform the members of the board that nominations for these offices do not require a second, only a nomination, and as well, it is perfectly appropriate to nominate and or vote for yourself. So the chair will open the floor to nominations for the office of President of the Board of Education.
I'd like to nominate.
Oh, go ahead, Commissioner Yee.
I'd like to nominate somebody that's going to work with all our school board members, new and old, and that will continue the work that we've happened to be able to be fortunate about in the last year or so. And I want somebody that will be also someone that can think outside the box and come up with new ideas as we sort of rotate the leadership. So who I'd like to nominate for tonight is Commissioner Mark Sanchez.
Thank you.
Okay.
For the office of President. Seeing none, the nominations for President are closed. Ms. Casco, can we have a roll call, please?
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes.
I should just tell everybody that since there's only one nominee, the vote would, you don't have to name the person, just vote yes or no.
Thank you, Commissioner. Ms. Kim, you voted yes, correct. Yes. Thank you. Mr. Marr?
I'll say his name anyway, Mark Sanchez.
Thank you.
Yes.
Ms. Mathis?
Voting for Mark Sanchez.
Ms. Mendoza?
Yes.
Mr. Sanchez?
Yes.
Ms. Wins?
Yes.
Mr. Yee? Yes. That's 7 affirmative votes for Commissioner Sanchez.
Congratulations, Commissioner Sanchez. The nominations for Vice President are now open. Commissioner Mathis?
I'd like to nominate Norman Yee.
Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, the nominations are closed. Ms. Casco, roll call, please.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes.
Mr. Marr?
Norman Yee, yes.
Ms. Mathis?
Norman Yee, yes.
Ms. Mendoza?
Yes.
Mr. Sanchez?
Yes.
Ms. Wins?
Yes.
Mr. Yee?
Congratulations.
Thank you. 7 affirmative votes.
Commissioner Yee, I don't know if you want to say anything, and I know that your energy is limited, so tell us when you want us to.
I'm going to just say one sentence and hang up.
Okay.
I just want to thank everybody on the school board for nominating me and President Sanchez, and I'm looking forward as soon as I get out of this hospital to start working with you, Mark.
We're all looking forward to that day.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Norman.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm humbled and happy. But I also want to say a couple words, which I brought my laptop to do that, so I can do that. Really, thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's been 6 years on this board, and it's been an incredible ride for all 6 years, and it's been emotional but gratifying, and I'm happy to make it to this point and to this seat. I really think that this year is going to be fruitful for the district. It's going to be emotional like all the other years, but it'll be one that we can build on the successes of the past. And I think that Norman Yee and previous President Eric Marr have really laid the foundation for the future of this district in many ways. And I think that Gwen Chan, Superintendent Chan, has also helped lay that foundation for the future. And I'll be the first to say right now that I hope that Gwen Chan throws her hat in the ring to be a candidate for the superintendent of the future.
Drink that water.
We'll wait for your answer. But of course, the main goal of everything that we have to do in this district is to ensure that our students, the ones in the classrooms and the folks that serve them every day, get the best education possible. And so we really have to concentrate on the neediest, the ones that have historically not been part of the overall success story of San Francisco, and I think that that's our biggest challenge. If you look at the test scores, which I do with chagrin a lot, the African American population in San Francisco has been dwindling, but the test scores themselves have shown an incredible lack of progress, I think. I noted at the last meeting that for those students, special education students even out test in math, and that is something that we can't abide by. We have to do much better, not just by African American students, but Latino students and other students who have not gotten the best. So we're going to be working on many initiatives. I know that every single one of the school board members here, and I know the superintendent, are going to be offering as many solutions as possible. I just want to throw out some that we've been talking about a lot in the last several years. One is small schools by design, really looking at how we can transform our high schools and middle schools into places where students thrive, where they're more personalized, where kids graduate at a much higher rate than at other schools, and make it into the future. We are going to be revisiting the policy that we passed in the future, in the past, and we're going to be having one come to our table in a week or so, and I'm looking forward to that from the superintendent, so we can commit ourselves to a real small schools by design policy that will serve especially the students that I've just mentioned. I also think besides having to hire a new superintendent, we need to make sure that we I'm so nervous that we start looking at how we really assign students to our schools. In the past, we've looked at numbers, and we've looked at numbers in a way that didn't really show that integration was happening in our schools. So, for example, if you go into a school and it says on paper that the school is 20% African American, 20% Latino, 20% Asian, and 20% white, and 20% other, you'll find in the classroom that is not the breakdown. And until we get to that root, to that issue of real integration, how we're going to make sure that our academic settings are really integrated, then it is not okay to say that we're just for integration without making sure that students are in academic settings together. And that's our biggest challenge as we go forward and try to devise a new student placement system. If we're going to have integration in the city, then we have to have real integration, not the kind of apartheid that exists right now. So those are kind of the broad sweep things that we have to work on, of course, and I know every board member wants to work on those vigorously, but how do we do it? How do we move forward as a board? This board, because of the structure of the board and because of, frankly, we are all paid $500 a month, and we all have other jobs that we are committed to. Many times we're not able to do all the work that we can do. We must visit that at the poll. We have to make sure that board members can do the job that they need to do. And Bevan Dufty, Supervisor Dufty, and other supervisors have committed themselves to working on that so that we can make sure that board members can do the job that they need to do. In the meantime, we need to add some committees to this board so we can have even more work. And one of the committees that I'm going to propose is a labor committee, because I think had we had a labor committee last year when we were going through the turmoil of near strikes with SEIU and UESF, we could have avoided much of the conflict. And I think that since we are engaged in negotiations right now, again, we need to ensure that the board members are actively involved in what we are doing with our negotiations. We also need to, I think, and I'll put it forward, add a personnel committee so that we can keep the search process that Norman Yee has started alive and well, and make sure that board members are engaged in that process, so that we make sure that we have the best fit superintendent for this district, but also so we can vet other types of personnel items. Other districts have these committees, and I think that we should look seriously at having them as well. We need to do big and small things for the audience, people who watch our board meetings. Bless you. One is that these board meetings start late and end late. I'm committed to starting them earlier and ending them earlier. And one, sure, no. And one of the ways I'd really like to do that is, and I've talked to Gwen Chan about this, and we'll try it out, I think, is to have our meeting start at 6 instead of 7. And instead of having the closed-door meeting, which is one of the reasons we're late to these meetings often, before the open meeting, have that meeting on another date, perhaps the alternate Tuesday, so that we can really flesh out the items that we have in closed-door. In fact, we're going back to closed-door after this meeting because we're unable to finish all the items that we had earlier today, so that we can make sure that these meetings start on time at 6 and get out of here. And there are also other ways that we can streamline our agenda so that we can get through it quicker. And one of, it's kind of wonky to say this, but our K-resos, the resolutions that we have, which form the bulk of our agenda, we need to set up a process of going through those so that we don't have to drag our staff here till late at night to go over one item that they're waiting for us to talk about. So our staff can be ready and on the ball in the next morning and working with our students and with our teachers. We're going to put a water cooler out in there antechamber so that people can drink water with us as we're up here. But there's just a lot of things that we can do, I think, that can make it more comfortable for the people who come out here and want to sit and watch, for some reason, what we're doing and engage the board with democracy at its finest. So once again, thank you. I'm humbled. Thank you for coming out for this meeting.